Okay, welcome back to Distant Nights. This is episode 3, I think, of the sort of continuation. I feel like not everyone's in the Roll20.
My PC is starting up.
Right, that'll be
Well
why.
done, Rick. Done.
Because Rick. So,
Instant as ever.
who wants to do a recap?
Not me.
I did it
Hex,
last
go ahead and do a
time.
recap.
Okay. So we flew to one of the ring worlds. I think it's ring world 1, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yep.
We got there. Well, we did. Some idiots got scammed by a tourist attraction.
Mhm.
And then we flew off. Went into kind of a orbital with our main ship around the ring world, which will pass by our insertion point every 3 hours, I think, something like that.
It was about every 90 minutes.
Fly into the using our shuttle, one of our shuttles, to fly into the in the sensor kind of shadow.
Yes.
And landed on the area, blew open the door of a airlock, managed to get into the airlock, and then there was a huge hangar with really cool, fancy aircrafts, or basically battleships.
Ships.
Ships.
You guys made your way pretty deep inside and encountered a interesting set of ships of a design you're all unfamiliar with.
Boats.
Yes, space boats that you are all
Yes.
unfamiliar with. That seem to be made of just triangles welded together. And you were interested in how to access said battleship-sized things, but could not.
Because
And
we didn't know the language.
yes.
So I think it was Old Terran.
Yeah, you recognise the writing, at least, as Old Terran. But, So, yeah, I believe you guys returned to your shuttle. What is... Yeah.
No, I don't think
No,
we
we're heading
No?
further in, I think.
We're heading toward the goal. If that makes sense. The
Right,
centre.
oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I think someone blew up a door, right? So, where are we gonna?
That was to get into
No, it's
the...
the airlock
Oh, okay.
over
Right.
the ships.
That was the surface of the
went-
ring world.
I think the last thing that we did was I went into the control tower. Had a wee look
Right.
over from there, but went, yeah, fuck that, let's go.
Yeah.
We'll look at these later.
Okay, so, with what not great information you have, you are currently about 300 miles from your destination.
Oh,
Most of it is downwards for you, or upwards for anyone on the other side of the ring world. But it is significantly, it's much deeper in. From what you can tell, you're actually quite close to the surface, based on how far you flew. You're relatively close to the surface as far as the actual depth of the ring world, goes, despite being already like 50 miles down. It's
yeah.
quite big.
Can we fly further in and closer?
Yeah, so if you guys were to return to the shuttle, that you would have to look for it. You don't currently have a way further down.
Right.
You don't like. There's nothing that's like, hey, go down. But you are in a massive chamber that sort of extends out of your range on all sides, so you could have a look around with the shuttle. You can look for it, but you do not currently know where further down is.
Can I quickly go have a wee scout around if anyone wants to join me? But
Sure, I'll join
Sure,
you.
sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I guess we'll all just kind of split up and see.
Yeah, I'll get into the shuttle and fly that around.
Okay.
Check that way.
Um.
Is someone which can see want to come with me?
Well.
I'm coming.
Okay, thank
same.
you, because I can't.
Yeah. As far as you guys can.
We actually have a blind captain.
As far as you guys can
Not
see
blind.
from where you landed, these sets of landing pads, each of which reach up to the largest of which is about 10 kilometers in length. These are very fucking big. These landing pads sort of tile outwards. Lengthwise, they seem to just continue onwards beyond where you can, like, your vision reaches, as there's the sort of like atmospheric dust essentially begins to build up, and it just sort of fades away in the distance on both sides. Obviously, you can't really go through the floor, so who knows what's beneath them. But off to either side, there are the sort of walls of this almost cylindrical chamber you're in, which obviously has the flat bottom where the landing pads are, but it then curves upwards towards the roof of this chamber.
Quick question. Can I see anything with my perceptive vision?
Go ahead and make a perception check. The walls aren't completely smooth. They seem to have this sort of ribbing structure, like structural support type structure around them. And that there's a fair number of balconies, of windows, and of just sort of details all across them.
Am I also able to send a ship scan off or whatnot?
Yeah, go ahead and make a ship scan. Would be let's go with go ahead and just make a wisdom check. Yeah.
Can it be intelligence?
No, that wouldn't be an int.
Can I add my spacefaring because I know how to use the systems?
Not really. Just make a wisdom
Okay,
check.
negative one it is.
Yes.
8.
8. Alright. Okay. And, what's that? 15. Okay. So, looking around, the shuttle scanners don't reach... I mean, they reach a little bit further, but not much further than you guys can actually see lengthways down this chamber. And they seem to just report that it goes on ad infinitum. However, the walls you begin to start slowly building up a map of, as it seems to scan and take in every detail all the way along. And it starts building up this holographic model of it. As that's happening, Rai, you notice on one of the walls there seems to be a sort of octagonal, not quite indentation, but like line etched into the wall, with a sort of like a walkway underneath it, maybe 15-20 meters across. And there's this walkway underneath it that has like a set of stairs that go all the way down to the bottom, which you probably don't want to take because that's like 300 or 400 meters up. But there seems to be something like a keypad maybe that you sort of spot among the what do you call it? Well, not a keypad, like a terminal. That you spot among all the I guess stuff built into and around the walls of this chamber where you guys are, which it looks very similar to the first the door you guys came through, or at least more. It looks similar to the underside of it.
Okay. So, guys, I've seen a kind of keypad over there. It remembers me of the door we've seen earlier. Probably we want to check that out.
How close could I fly the ship to it?
You can fly the shuttle relatively close. You can get within like You can get the nose of the shuttle within like 2 or 3 meters.
Could I get like the hatch so someone could get out while I'm still hovering next to it?
Not onto this walkway.
Do we have a pointy nose? Can you press a button with it?
No. You
Aw.
don't. It's a flat nose. You have the engines. They stick out further behind the actual door for various reasons, mostly safety. And so you couldn't actually get the hatch up to the wall. And you wouldn't want to get the rear end of the shuttle too close to the wall, or you might start damaging either the wall or yourself.
Yep.
Could
So.
we probably hover with the shuttle next to it, and someone with magnetic boots and the space outfit is going onto the shuttle and looking from outside?
If you guys got on top of the shuttle, you could get the nose up and then step off the nose onto this railing if you wanted to do that. Like that
What's
way.
the closest landing pad, I guess?
The closest landing pad is occupied.
Or like, what's the closest we can land to it?
Oh, the closest you could land to, honestly, with a shuttle your size, probably at the bottom of this set of like stairs that zigzag back and forward all the way down the wall.
And that's like 400 meters, you said?
Yeah, about 350. Like, basically
Alright,
vertically, it
so-
would be about 350, and it also sort of curves away, so it's even further than that.
I just land downstairs and just fucking walk up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so we... Right, there is stairs up.
Yeah, it's just a fucking
Yeah,
significant hike, essentially.
I'll just land next to it and just
400
walk up
meters
the
out.
stairs then.
It's no significant.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you land next to it and start heading up. It is quite tiring. That is a lot of steps, and yeah, that's a lot of steps. That's like, it wouldn't, like, 300 or 400 meters wouldn't be much, but essentially fighting gravity going up, it's quite a chunk.
We're
However,
on the Dragon Warrior Yargon. We can't do stairs.
yes.
Is
Well-
the gravity heavier than it normally is?
No, it's 1G here.
It's still 1G, alright.
You would sort of be aware that the gravity in this chamber is definitely artificial.
Alright.
Otherwise, it should be the other way around. You should be on the outside of the ring, not the inside. But you're standing on the inside of the face of this cylinder, I guess. If you think about it like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's more of a turret, but you know what the fuck I'm talking about. But yes, you eventually make your way all the way up to the top of the stairs. And yeah, you're faced with a pretty similar keypad to the one that you saw before.
Oh, fucking damn it.
What's the difference then?
No bomb, make it away this time, kid.
From what you can tell, first of all, the door here, this seems to be the underside of the door. The actual mechanism for it is on the outside. And as far as you can tell, well, you can't actually see into the wall with the scanners on the shuttle for this one. Because whatever this chamber is made of, it seems to be hardened against penetrating scans.
Right.
Yeah, you can't see the wiring through it, and so you're not quite sure whether blowing it up would be the best measure.
Great.
So making a rope out of plastic explosives.
Is there any notes or anything around it that you could sort of tell
They
what the
don't,
code is or something?
other than this sort of like, you know, those like steel walkways where you've got the grated floor,
Yeah.
and the 2-bar like railing. It's one of those that goes up to it, and like, other than that, there is nothing like else. It is just that. There is one section where there's no railing, which looks like it might be to get on or off of a ship, maybe. But it's not the best design because it's quite
Right.
close to the wall. Maybe if something hovered next to it, you could get on and off of it. But other than that, yeah, there's nothing that seems to immediately stand out to you.
You will want to get through it?
Not with explosives yet.
Please.
You see just kid just in the background just making a long sausage out of some plastic explosives.
Okay.
He's preparing.
Rolling it between your hands. Sure.
Okay. So, anyone got any ideas for this key? Or this keypad?
Well, it's harder than the first one, so maybe explosives might be the right way to go, but it might trigger something that might trigger an alarm or something.
Why don't we not start with explosives?
Yeah.
Let's leave that till we can't figure out any other option.
Right.
Okay, I'm going on safety distance.
Okay.
Plus some extra meter just to make sure.
Sort of back up down the stairs
Yeah.
a bit. Sure.
I'll go up to the keypad. Does it look like a normal keypad or anything?
Yeah, it has all, like, 9, I guess. No, 10. Yeah, all 10 regular buttons. 0 through 9. And, yeah, it has, what do you call it, like an enter button and a back button.
Does it look new?
It...
Like newer than the one in the front?
No. It appears to be, like, it kind of looks like a faintly glowing glass panel. Like black glass panel, and as you approach it seems to glow blue as the keypad appears on it, and as it does so you actually notice there's a relatively thick layer of dust over the whole thing.
Right. Is there any, like, worn areas of the screen or anything like that? Guessing no.
Go ahead and make a intelligence check for investigation.
Ooh. Got a +1 in intelligence.
Can I do the same?
Yeah, go for it.
11. I have not got the rolls.
And
11 and
10.
10.
Okay. As
Not the worst.
you look it over,
Yeah.
you do note that where there is a 0 on the keypad, that seems to be, what you call it, slightly worn.
How many digits is the key?
You can't tell. It doesn't have a display for how many digits, at least not yet.
Maybe try all zeros again?
Yeah, let's try all zeros.
Okay. As you start typing them in, it's a 24-digit code.
24 fucking digits.
Yes.
All zeros?
I wouldn't say it's all zeros.
No, I think it's all zeros. Do it.
Just, yeah, fuck it, let's all zeros.
Okay. You type in all zeros 24 times and then press enter. And as you do, you see the 3 little dots showing that how many attempts you have left pop up again. And the whole thing goes
Fucking hate those dots.
the whole thing goes green. And then flickers out.
Oh.
And you hear the sound of
what?
like clunking machinery behind the door.
It was all zeros!
It's all zeros!
And
Only
not
key that
supposed
was
to
worn
happen.
out. That's so fucking good.
everyone that isn't net cable, I need you to make me an endurance check as the door begins to move, and this, like, maybe half-inch of dust built up over this sort of 20-meter area just begins to fall on all of you.
Oh, because it's gonna start coughing.
Endurance check.
Yeah. As
14.
you can't really not breathe that in.
Oh.
Seraph is definitely gonna be confused as to why everyone's coughing.
You're fine.
Ooh, you guys are
Hopefully
dying.
the DC's 10!
It is. Kit and Lexie, you two are fine. However, the others, you guys begin to just retch. And, like coughing to the point you're retching more. As this just huge, like, cloud of dust descends on all of you. And you can, like,
Even
bet...
though I'm further away.
Well, yeah, because the only way to go was essentially down. And the dust is falling down.
Okay.
So yeah, You get a bit of a head start, but yeah, it does catch up to you eventually. Unfortunately, as you're trying to make your way down these stairs.
Yeah, I think we'll just head down, but
Yeah.
I'll try and help Liz and Ray with I don't know, shoving a bit of like cloth in front of their mouths to try and filter stuff.
Is it just like one huge gust, or is it like a huge, like just a fucking stream?
It's like a huge continuous like cloud that like covers the whole area really. As the door moves and seems to dislodge it all, it seems to just sort of poof off into this massive cloud, which begins to fall down. It seems to be very fine particulate dust. Although you do not, it seems to settle quite quickly, and after maybe a half a minute of this, you begin to it begins to sort of let up as the dust seems to mostly be settling, and there is now a thin layer of dust over all of you and everything else. Best
Do
you
like
can-
the dog like kind of shake to get rid of them?
Yeah, you shake a bit like a dog, and
I'll just start brushing it off and
yeah, dust just sort of goes everywhere.
Does it look like normal dust, or is it like sand or anything else?
Best you can
Or
tell,
just normal dust?
it's pretty normal dust. It's the sort of like it's grey as opposed to the colour you'd normally be used to, the sort of yellowy colour. But that's because seems to be formed mostly of like rock dust, a very very
Right.
fine particulate.
By the way,
Does it smell like anything?
Not particularly.
Is my perceptive vision, hearing, or touch helping anything to see anything?
Your perceptive touch actually would come in one thing. It is kind of painful, like more so than normal when you breathe it in.
Awesome.
But
Right.
What is the gravity like, by the way?
it's 1G.
1D.
1G.
It's
right.
you're in artificial gravity, so it's regular.
Right.
Well, let's head on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I try to gather a little bit of the dust?
Yeah,
And try to
sure.
see if I can like put it in a pouch or something.
Yeah, you gather it up and you pull out like a bottle or something and get some of it. Yeah. It seems to like be this sort of fine, like lightish grey rock dust.
Right.
As you're looking at it. It looks like basically whatever this is, it's very old and it's been closed. Things have happened in here since it was closed.
Right.
So it's not been opened in a very long time.
Yeah.
So that means we're the first ones.
Yeah. Does that?
For a while.
Less enemies?
Or more.
Or more feral enemies.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'll get to the ship and just start
Yeah.
heating that up and all that.
So, yeah, you get to the shuttle and you turn it on and there's just sort of cloud of dust emits from the back of it as the engines just blast out the area behind them.
By the way, does like our airlock effectively have a vacuum to put all like to take all the dust off people?
Yeah, there would be a vacuum
Thank God.
inside the
Like a
airlock.
decontamination area.
I would
Yeah.
make sure everyone's de-dusted with the vacuum before anyone comes in, so we don't have dust walking or like
That is
filling the inside.
Good
Oh,
decision.
that's character.
No, it doesn't. It gets in electronics and breaks them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, it does. That's why you don't use pencils on a space station, and why the Moonlander had to use vac-sealed containers to carry stuff in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So-
also why there's IPA rating for dust as
Yeah.
well as water.
So, you you start the shuttle up and head up to where this door seems to be mostly open. It seems to have got about like 75 degrees and stopped. It's not fully 90 degrees. It seems like as you pull the shuttle up and illuminate the corridor with the floodlights, it seems to be that there's this octagonal chamber that goes forward and then quickly bends downwards, descending even further down. But it looks a lot like this door's supposed to go completely flush with the floor, but hasn't for whatever reason. But even still, there's still plenty of room to get your shuttle in.
Right, there's plenty of room. Alright,
Yeah.
so I was going to say, do I need to nudge it open or anything?
No, you could certainly try, but
If I don't need to, I'm not going to fucking try.
yeah, you really don't need to. Your shuttle's not anywhere near that big.
Yeah.
And you can quite handily bring the shuttle in and follow
Go
this
ahead.
sort of corridor along. It seems to be made almost of just like carved out of rock. Like pretty well carved. In fact, very well carved. But it is carved out of rock.
Yeah.
And
It's
so it,
carved into rock.
yeah, it seems to be just this one solid like structure, I guess. That it is made from. It's one solid material. It looks like rock, best you can tell.
Yeah.
And as I say, it sort of dips forward after about like 30 meters and begins to head downwards.
I'll very slowly go round the dip and make sure
Yeah,
nothing's dodgy with it and then head down.
yeah. As you head down, there's nothing dodgy with it. The pipe just seems to sort of slowly, or this pipe tube, whatever you want to call it, it sort of slowly curves down and then heads much further downwards. And eventually, after maybe like 15 miles of just straight downwards, it begins to, well, it doesn't begin to, it does, it widens out as it suddenly comes out into a large circular chamber, which again seems to continue downwards. But you notice in here there's a lot of like bridges and things like connecting from one side to the other of this large chamber.
Yeah.
You've got all these various what's the word? Like windowed buildings essentially built into the side of it, keeping this perfectly circular exterior that's maybe about 100 meters across. And yeah, you can continue on downwards. And
Do I see any movement?
no,
As in-
none at all.
None.
No.
Okay, and can I mark this exit into the circular area on like our map so I can navigate through it quite easily?
Yeah.
When we need to leave.
Yeah, well, you're building a sort of map as you go, just by the nature of how the shuttle maps things.
Yeah,
keeps
do we
track
have
of
like
sound.
a hologram over where we've been kind of thing?
Yeah, but it would be only the area that you've been through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
can
sort
we
of
do like
expanded.
a proper scan of the chamber, I guess?
You could do.
Yeah.
Go ahead
I'll
and
just
yeah, go ahead and give it a wisdom check then, Lars.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Can I not let someone else do that with good wisdom?
Not
None
really.
of us have a good wisdom.
Who has one?
Well,
None of us.
not really if you're flying.
Great. 2.
Okay,
That is not a super critical failure.
it's
Good
not
job, Lexie.
Amazing.
wonderful. So,
Can we see someone who's helping me?
I mean, you
Mine
can't
is even
really
worse.
help with the ship scanners.
Is there like a co-pilot seat?
Nope, not on this one.
Not on the ship.
Because you took the faster one, so it's the smaller shuttle that doesn't have a co-pilot
Yeah.
seat. Okay.
Can we get up like a kind of like a hard light or soft light, like screen basically in the back of our where the rest of us are sitting, kind of like a workstation, like improvised workstation.
Well, you can pull up holograms anywhere inside the back compartment if you want.
Yeah,
So-
basically set up like a kind of like a basically so I can help out with basically the technical parts of it and like
Ah.
basically optimizing.
Yeah, you can
Engineering
certainly
of
do that. I'd say. If Lexie lets you, you'll get a prompt that's like, hey, this person's trying to interface with the scanners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'll let someone have a wee look at the scanners as well.
Yeah.
Especially after I fly in and barely notice it's a fucking circle.
Yeah. So yeah, you do get this. Your scans seem to be put off by something in here. Where the windows are, they seem to be creating just streaks that go across your scan in ways that they shouldn't do. It might just be the odd geometry of the room, and it might be the fact that it's a curved reflective material, because that can cause some issues.
Can I use my
does it have
technical
those
knowledge, either physics or engineering, to try, or chemistry, to kind of try to limit the interference in the scans?
Yeah, go with technical engineering, I'd say.
Technical engineering, yeah, that's 6.
Thanks, Tom, for giving
14.
me an excuse to not see fucking anything.
So 14. All right, yeah. It's not perfect, but you managed to knock out a lot of it. The initial scan will still come through with it, but you can essentially clean them up afterwards. It'll take a minute or so. So, basically, Lewis, go ahead and roll again if you want to scan again, but with advantage this time.
Oh, with advantage. Oh, thank fuck.
Yay!
That's better.
Bro! Yay!
That's
14.
Hey!
14. Okay.
Second highest roll of the night.
Off to a good start, guys. So,
Sorry, third.
with a 14, yeah, you don't get a lot more, but you do get a lot more clarity on what you do get. These bridges seem not to be so much bridges as almost maybe a connecting beam from one side to the other. They all seem to pass directly through the center, and they seem to have various series of magnets, of electromagnets, all built throughout them. Hundreds of thousands of them. And they seem to maybe be some kind of... It's hard to say. But maybe if you were to flood the entire chamber with particles of, like, of some kind of charged particle, you could create, like, high concentrations around them. Or you could fill the room with spanners and pull them all to these rods. It's really kind of not clear. But they exist.
Right, this is the dump zone for the center beam, effectively. Or something along those lines.
The what for it? Sorry.
The center beam in the center of the ring
Yeah.
is a charged particles, correct?
Yeah.
So is it feasible that this is like, if there's too many, they get shot up here?
Like a storage area for them.
You're really far from it. That would be weird.
Alright.
But maybe. Like something like that. That thought pops in your head and you're like, oh yeah, it could definitely be related to that, but actually like a dump or storage for them this high up is a little unlikely. But it could be.
Yeah. How far away are we at the moment?
From the destination, still close to 300 miles.
Right.
You only
I'll
went-
start flying in that direction again and see how far
Okay.
I can get.
Yeah, that is down, this chamber. You have to sort of weave through these beams, which there's plenty of space to do so, and they seem to cross, always connected to where one of these windows is.
Yeah.
And as you continue downwards, further and further down, this chamber just, like, you figured it would stop, and it doesn't. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
And after about 250 miles long, or tall,
Jeez.
it eventually, you meet this, like, huge metal, like, ring around the outside of it that's maybe 3 or 4 meters thick. It appears to be very solid, which seems to just be connected to the next part of the chamber, which is also made of rock, so that's a little strange. Which is even larger.
Is the whole thing like a large cylinder, basically?
Yes,
A
that you're
lot
inside.
Okay.
It's like a cylinder with all these crisscross beams, and eventually, as you get to this point with this, it's like 3 or 4 meter thick, just solid metal rim around the outside. That seems to be connecting it to, or maybe sealing it to, the next part of the chamber, which instead of being about 100 meters across, is closer to 200 or 300 meters across. It's even bigger, and that again, the rods crossing this time, because there's more of these, they seem to be in pairs, and they're also much thicker.
Right. Am I able to run a quick passive or passive scan to see if I detect any other ships or anything?
Yes. Go ahead and
That's
roll
another wisdom.
wisdom, yeah, with advantage.
Yeah.
Great.
How far away are we from like the main energy beam? I guess. No.
Still a pretty reasonable distance, like
50 mile roughly, maybe?
oh god, no, like 250 miles.
I thought you said we went 250 miles down.
Yeah.
And we were 300 before.
Your destination was 300 miles. Your destination isn't on the beam. It's close, way closer than anyone would ever let you get. But
Right.
these things are planet-sized in thickness. They are massive.
So it isn't
okay.
too much of a stretch to say that this is maybe like a
This might be connected.
to the energy beam.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, this chamber we're in now seems to continue on even further down out of sight.
Kit starts to get a bit anxious about being in this area.
Alright, so where we're going is not near the beam.
It's near, but yeah, not really.
Alright, so
Not on
50
your
miles.
scale, but on the planet scale, oh yeah.
Fair enough.
It's near in the same way London and Paris are close compared to America.
Yeah, fair enough. So 10, guessing nope.
Not really. Oh, sorry, other ships or anything like that? No, you don't read
Yeah.
anything. And you continue even further down.
Yeah,
Again, another like 50 miles or so. You begin to reach the area where you were expecting something to be. And eventually, you see 8 of these octagonal ports coming off of this central chamber in a I guess like a ring around it, each feeding off. They seem to feed. They have like housing that comes out and feeds down, so that you have to go underneath and then up into them.
right.
But there are these sort of 8 octagonal ports that come off at the right sort of height. One of which is almost exactly
Ship-sized?
the same size as the one at the top. So yes, about 20 meters across.
Is that me or is that Tom?
What?
I got you cut off there for me.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
that was you.
Okay, yeah, I said they're the same size as the one at the top, so about 20 meters across.
20 meters across. So could we fly up to one of them?
Yeah, so you could. One of them is in the exact direction you need to go as well.
Yeah, I'll
So, yeah,
fly up to that.
you begin to make your way down this, up it, and then eventually, obviously, it sort of levels out, continues along, and a few miles, but not particularly far, in the relative scale of things, down this this tube. It eventually, you come to what seems to be some kind of maybe control station for whatever is supposed to flow through here, and it's clearly a pipe of some kind. But whatever is supposed to flow through here, there's a overlapping like metal plates of like a grate that's closed, like a valve essentially, on the inside.
Right.
And you, as you come up to this, you see that like off one side of this, there seems to have been constructed some kind of like landing pad, and this is pretty much exactly where you're supposed to be.
How new is this landing pad looking?
It's newer than... It's, like, distinctly newer than the rest of the surroundings, but it still looks really, really old.
Right. Like, within the last, like, century, or
No.
older than that?
As in, it was built after the rest of this stuff was, but still during the construction period of the ringworld, kind of old.
Right. I'll,
It still looks ancient.
yeah. I'll land on that then.
Yeah. You sort of land on this landing pad. It's slightly bigger than your shuttle, but honestly, not by much. And as you sort of as you land on the landing pad, it sort of sinks slightly into the ground on some kind of hydraulic system, and you see a number of shutters begin closing around the like over the edge where to like seal off where this pipe would be, so that you're next to it, but outside it and it's closed.
Is that Rick snoring?
Rick,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
you okay there?
Yeah?
Making
Okay.
weird noises, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
Quit looking up hentai when you find D&D.
I'm not looking at hentai, fuck you.
This is not D&D, Tom. Oof, it's a room.
Close enough.
My throat is a little bit,
Oh!
stuffed, however.
Oh, fair.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, really.
So, land on the pad.
Yeah, and as it does so, as you land on this pad, as I say, it sort of like sinks down slowly, and this pipe seals itself off. All these shutters that come in. So you're now
no
outside.
atmosphere still outside?
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Same gravity, I'm guessing artificial.
No gravity.
No gravity.
Sorry, yeah. As you look outside again, seemingly artificial, but there is no gravity.
There's no gravity, but there is an atmosphere.
Yes.
I'll put both the mag boots and the like flyy thing. Like I can't remember what the name was for that.
The propulsion thing can't be separated from the suit. Mag boots can though.
I'll put the mag boots on then.
Yeah, it's like built into the structural framework of it. It's like in the shoulders and the elbows and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I'll put the mag boots on just so I can
Yeah,
walk freely.
You can put mag boots on. Your shuttle seems to have landed on the pad as though there was gravity, which is why it sort of comes as a bit of a surprise that apparently there's not.
I'm guessing it's the shuttle enabling the gravity, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't appear to be. The shuttle landed as though there was, but the sensors say there isn't.
Right. I'll head out with my mag boots on and test if there actually is any gravity.
I'm gonna, as he's heading out, I'm not gonna check if there's any radiation or anything like that.
Okay.
Let's get a chemical.
Yeah. Go ahead and make a chemistry.
What for radiation? Wouldn't that be physics?
Not if you're looking at like ionizing radiation and anything dangerous to biology.
Fair enough.
14.
14. No, there does not appear to be. There actually appears to be almost no radiation here. Like even the like
background.
Yeah, the background radiation is incredibly dull compared to what you'd expect on like a planet's surface or whatever. It's you're got like hundreds of miles of shielding above and below you. That's very little.
Right, so I'll head out. I'll make sure I've got an emergency oxygen supply if needs be.
Yeah. Okay. As you cycle the airlock, you don't get the hissing of all the air escaping. When you cycle with atmosphere supposed to be there, and it's not.
Yeah.
It hisses.
the gravity?
It doesn't do that. As you step out, yeah, there is.
There is gravity.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Okay. I'll still keep my mag boots on.
Yeah.
But not on, if that makes sense.
On but not active. Yes.
Yeah.
You,
and then let everyone else out.
Yeah. You sort of open up the other back door. Everything seems fine.
Yeah.
It's strange. Sensors shouldn't be off like that. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. I also keep the emergency oxygen supply as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I take one of the like kind of? I think I took one with me when there was the ship that like emergency, like the like emergency EVA suit basically, like the bubble, the hard light bubble.
Yeah, you can bring one of those if you want.
Yeah, good. Have one of those in my pocket.
Okay.
Am I able to put my suit into like a backpack and take that as well in case? we need that, or
Not
is it too
really.
big?
It's a bit big.
Right, that's fair. I'll go with my normal armor at the moment.
Okay.
And is there any doors out of this, or is it just
Uh,
landing zone with walls on all sides?
Yeah, so mostly just walls on all sides. They again seem to be carved in the stone. However, there is a set of stairs that lead up to a slightly raised area,
Yeah.
which has like 3 separate terminals on it. And there's a door that seems to lead like further into wherever you're going.
Yeah. I'll head up the
Run up.
stairs.
I'll follow.
Rai and Charlissandra, what are you two doing? And Seraph, what are you doing as well?
Just preparing my gear. I'm gonna follow whoever is moving, essentially.
Okay, you follow along.
Yeah.
Rai, Charlissandra, you guys going or are you staying with the ship?
Right now, checking again if everything I have is packed, if my weapon is loaded. Then first, before heading out, checking the area. If there's something odd I can see or hear or even feel.
Okay, go ahead and give me a wisdom check with advantage.
Ah.
Oh, I was muted. Charlissandra
Well
will
done.
be heading out, yeah.
Okay. Oof.
Wow. Wow, you're rolling worse than me.
Okay.
That's not good.
Looking around, listening, it seems to be dead quiet, and there just seems to be this one room.
Like,
The air's
like completely no sound quiet?
yeah. You can't. You can hear the slight hum of the shuttle's thrusters, finishing the power down cycle. But other than that, yeah. Any other sounds are drowned out by the basic sounds of your friends breathing and walking and thinking. But
Thinking sounds.
yeah.
Just like
I see.
think for months.
Well, you've met Lois. Some of us can't think out loud. Can't think out loud. Can't think in our head.
Me?
Yes, I'm judging you.
I can think in my head.
Well, not very well. So,
Fuck you.
Not according to your keyboard.
I mean,
That's just me typing. There's a difference.
but
And yes, it's a bit loud at times. I realise that.
it's fine. But yeah, you don't hear, see, or feel anything of interest. The air is a little stale, but it's breathable and there's nothing off about it. It's just old. Yeah.
okay, can I look for a probably sniping position somewhere or somewhere around the ship I could hide and watch the area if we need to run away and flew to the ship?
The room you're in isn't too much bigger than the ship, so not really.
Hide on the ship's roof.
Yeah, other than hiding behind the actual shuttle, where if you could hide behind one of the engine blocks, and you'd be able to get a clear shot at the doors, the only door leading out. But other than that, not really.
Is it in the like a slightly raised section?
Yeah,
where
it's
so you can kind of get covered by, I guess.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
you
there.
could, but it's about like 2, maybe 3 feet up. It's not particularly high. It's only a few steps up to it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
What's
not
the
ideal.
terminals looking at?
The terminals all appear to be like either off or dead currently. They're just
Dead.
blank.
Is there a door up by where we are?
Yeah. So sorry. You're in a room with where the landing pad is. That area there is a sort of the floor. It extends a little bit out past where the landing pad is. Then there's one area where there's a few steps up, and there's this sort of like slightly raised area which is all along the wall. There's a door at one end, and also along the wall there are three terminals.
All dead.
Yeah, they seem to be off at least currently.
I'll go, like, see if I can turn them on.
Okay. Which one do you want to poke first?
I'll start with the one closest to me,
Okay. So
and then work along.
So the one closest to the door. You poke it, and yeah, there's a sort of brief flickering, and it flashes into life.
Yeah. All Terran?
Go ahead and roll me a knowledge purify check.
Fuck. That's knowledge. So that'll be history.
History purify, yeah, sorry.
My history's not as bad as I thought it would be. Good rolls!
Is that 19?
Finally!
Okay. So,
How do I know something about Priorify? My character doesn't care.
it seems to be mostly, like, looking at this, it seems mostly Aegon, the writing on it. But not all of it. There is about, like, 50% of the words you don't understand. It's like trying to talk to an Irishman if you're from South England, which I guess doesn't really relate to Lewis. But
Yeah, we're fine. They're not that bad.
you get the point. It's very difficult as sort of most of the words, like it resembles Aegon, but just huge swaths of the words here don't exist. They're not real words. Well, at least not to you, and you're not.
Can I
quite
attempt
sure
to
what that's
translate
about.
it?
Go ahead and make a knowledge purify check then, in your case.
Right.
Do I get the gist of what it's trying to say?
In parts, in places. It seems to be a readout from what you can tell of what it's gathered about your shuttle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seraph. Unfortunately, translating text usually isn't really your job when it comes to this.
Right.
Yeah, it's not really your thing. You recognize
Would she
it.
have left her books? Oh yeah, didn't I take some of the books to be able to like read it so I can learn more about Priorify?
You did get some of the books, yeah.
Would there be any like translation books?
Translation. It's yes. You could. I imagine there would be something there that translates or mentions at least some of these words.
Right. Okay. Then I'm gonna bring that book. I'll go back. I'll bring the book, and I'm gonna attempt to translate some of the words that I can.
Okay. But yeah, Lois. It seems to be a readout of what it's got from your shuttle. What information it has worked out about you so far, best you can tell.
Yeah.
Seraph, you pull out this book
Yes.
and immediately begin attempting to translate things. Make it just a flat intelligence check.
Right. Intelligence is 2. All right. It's not that bad. So.
What the actual fuck is cream soda?
Ah, okay.
15.
Cream soda is fucking amazing.
Yeah, but like, what the fuck? 15.
Yes. It's weird. Yeah.
Okay. It's gonna take you some time to fully translate everything.
Right.
But you do notice in places where words are repeated, and you notice, well, you start quickly being able to build up a rough idea of what some of these words mean.
Right.
Essentially, like short-term memory. It won't last, but you get like a, you know, when you look at like a translation or something, and then for the next like 5 minutes you can read that, and like 5 minutes later it'll be gone. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
As you start sort of beginning to try and build up a bit of a an understanding of what it's saying,
Right.
you begin to slowly essentially like put together what's going on. Though it will take you some time to actually translate everything. But
The other two screens the same idea, or
the other two, the next one over, the middle one, when you poke it, it doesn't turn on. And the last one, when you poke it, it shows a picture of what appears to be a pair of Talons sitting in like a grassy field. Like it looks like a mother and a child sitting in a grassy field. It's like a blue sky. There's a mountain in the background. And there's some word you don't really recognize across like the center of it, and it appears to be like a slogan written underneath that again you don't recognize any of the words.
A photo of it.
Sure. Yeah, you can take a picture of it. It's not the best, obviously. It's literally a potato screenshot, but it works. Yeah. It almost seems to just be a welcome image of some kind from a corporate type thing.
Yeah.
How
I'm
did
gonna
the
try to
Terran...
poke the door, just see if it does anything.
Okay, you poke the door. The door seems pretty solidly made of metal.
Okay, I'm gonna start analyzing and see how much explosive I need to get to it.
A
I'm
reasonable
going to
chunk.
try the door handle.
Lilo, what were you gonna say?
I was just asking how the Terrans in the picture look like. Like, were they happy? How
Oh,
old,
yeah.
young?
Both. Well, obviously one of them's like a young child. The other one's a relatively young-looking woman, maybe like early 50s.
Does it look like a stock photo?
Yeah, it does look. Well, it looks not like a stock photo, but like a custom-made advertising photo. If that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, early 50s is like early 20s for us. And yeah, they both look like overly happy, like smiling and all, you know.
So like an advertisement.
Yes. Exactly like an
Okay.
advertisement. And yeah, you can't work out. Actually, no. Yeah, you can. You're fucking Kit. Looking at the store, Kit. You see it seems to be a sliding door, so probably a little more than you'd hoped, because many sliding doors can be easily reinforced.
Yeah.
But you could probably get through this with most of what you've got on you. I'd guess.
Just quickly, before he does anything stupid.
Yeah?
Is there like a door handle or anything to open the sliding door?
There's not a door handle on it.
Is there a like data slate on the wall next to it or something?
There is a terminal that you were just poking.
Yeah, I poke one of the terminals to see if I can navigate to that door.
Okay. If you get help from Seraph, you can quite handily figure out which one is the sort of the enter, and it does ask you for a login.
Yeah.
And then there is just a login as guest button.
Yeah. Log in a guest.
Which, well, that seems to be what it does. It's technically described as fake login. But you're like, okay, that's a bit weird, and you click that one, and the door opens for you.
I walk through the door.
Kid is slightly disappointed, but also
That's fine. But
takes
yeah.
out the chain laser and gets ready to in case anything happens.
Okay. Lois, as you poke the fake login button, it seems to it shows a picture that looks almost like a mugshot of each one of your faces. Like against a plain like grey background, as if it's like taken a picture of you, readjusted the lighting, and then photoshopped you onto this like grey background, which is a little disturbing.
Yeah.
But it displays each one of you. It asks for a name for each of you.
Can I put in pseudo names for everyone?
You can. There's a keyboard and like a cursor.
Yeah.
What are you calling everyone?
Kit's called Cat.
Okay.
And that's
Seraph,
heavily offensive.
Seraph, I'll shove in Demon.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you're not a fucking angel anymore, now fuck off.
Right.
That's what Seraph's are, isn't it? Or whatever.
I think so.
Yeah, Ray. The fuck can I put in for Ray?
Just call me the unknown.
Bay.
Yeah.
Not
No.
Bay.
Member of a
Not
group of
Bay.
angels.
Rainbow in for Ray.
Okay.
Rainbow?
Yeah, Rainbow. Rainbow. Same idea. Liz
Right.
can be does not listen.
Right. Okay.
And I'm the captain for me.
Right.
That is something I wrote on episode 1
Dude.
for this end of
Yep.
I'm
the
trying to not.
captain.
Lewis, Lexie, I'm trying to not see this as an insult, but that's really hard, okay?
I think you
How is
should also
rainbow
check the
an
definition of
insult?
Seraph.
Kid is definitely not happy.
So,
I mean, I'm definitely not a rainbow.
yeah.
When he's looking away, can I change the captain's name?
Not
I've
really. 'Cause
already entered
yeah,
that
well,
I'm
once
the
you-
captain.
once he accepts it, it doesn't seem to let it change.
God damn it.
But yeah, you look at the this. It seems to accept this. And yeah, no. Sorry. Yes, it accepts these, and the door opens for you.
Yeah, I just need to quickly go through and write down all of these names in case I need to know them again.
Yep. So, beyond is a corridor that sort of heads onwards with a number of doors off each side, a tray of them, and like a pair of strips along the floor and along the ceiling that seem to be like embedded into the stone, and they brighten for you as you're near them, like lights that follow you down the corridor to preserve energy or something like that. But, which is a little creepy because it means the end of the corridor's mostly in darkness, but then you're not. From either
By the
end?
way, just a heads up, Liz's name is, as I said, does not listen,
Yeah.
but the S is a Z,
Yeah, okay.
just because I'm an arsehole like that.
Yep. So, as you step in, you note that there is a red holographic tape over the first two doors that you encounter, which simply state biohazard. But the third one is not covered.
I'm gonna put a mine in front of each of the two. Red
Dude,
doors.
I was just going to say, don't do it.
Well, I just.
Okay. Yeah, you
Okay, I grab Kid and lift him into the air, letting him sit right in front of his mines, and saying to him, dude, deactivate these mines.
I'm just gonna let this happen and just sit to the side, just going, I've tried this.
Okay.
Someone's about to blow up. This is gonna be fun.
Oh, that was fucking awful, that cable.
What?
I'm gonna deactivate them.
Okay, you
Thank
deactivate
you.
them.
Just leave them there.
Okay.
You're picking them up.
Oh, okay, I'm picking them up again.
You pick up the mines. Alright.
Can-
Thank you, Captain.
Hmm.
He's a fucking problem.
Don't
I'm
Don't
trying
be
to.
so-
trying
don't
to
be
put
so
this up
grumpy. Safe?
Yeah, in case we need to get back.
Kid,
And
if
we-
we're going to blow this up, we are all going to die.
Yeah, but in case like there's biohazard, and if they open, then we might die. If there's like some monster creature thing.
Yeah, but if you blow them up, we're going to die anyway because you're going to blow them up.
Yeah, but not us.
Other thing, this is a big thing, we are over 500 miles underground, in a place that hasn't been touched for years. I think we'll probably be fine.
Also, that might, loosen the structural integrity of the inside.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Let's go.
Mm.
No
You get the
mines.
feeling no amount of mines you've brought with you. If you could set off a fusion reaction, an out-of-control fusion reaction inside your ship's reactor, you probably wouldn't be able to damage the structural integrity of this place.
Mm-hmm.
Seems pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. But you come across the other door, which is does not have a red biohazard like tape crawling across it. And as you open it, you step into a chamber that is maybe it's a few kilometers across, but notably it is quite a few kilometers deep, maybe 30, 40 kilometers deep, and you appear to be stood on a ledge almost, overlooking it, in the center of which there is a single support column which branches out into 5 other, well, the central one plus 5 other columns branch out, each of which seem to be supporting a small building, and these buildings are connected with bridges. In the centre's the largest one, then on sort of the far side from you guys there's a pretty big one as well. There's 2 smaller ones that appear to be 2-floor, on the left, and it's there's a reasonably big one on the right, and then sort of across the longest bridge towards you guys is this a much smaller one. And again, there's another bridge from sort of this ledge like area that you're at. It's almost like an island in this sort of just void that spans across this gap over to where this building is being held, suspended in the center of this like huge chamber.
Very quickly,
Yes.
I'll point to Kit.
Mm-hmm.
See that terminal that our face is turned up onto? You know, the one that I mean?
Yeah.
Aye. Can you rig up a mine on that so we can explode it if we need to be?
Yeah, back at the ship area, right?
Yes, because I've just
Yeah.
thought, if we were coming here to steal something,
Mhm.
and we need to get out fast,
Mm-hmm.
and we go past that, and they know about it, they get our photos off of it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's local, and we can just explode it and go away.
You want mine or just a death pack?
It's something you can trigger remotely.
Okay. I'll start heading back.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's maybe like 20 meters. It's not that far back. You just nip back and do that.
Yeah, as I run back, I use basically one of my one of the explosives that I used for my chem stuff.
Mhm.
That I got from the chem. Shape it into like a shape explosive to kind of try anything inside. Put on 2 detonators and we're back. I'm also gonna put 2 high explosive mines on the 2 bioreactors as I'm running back.
Yeah, no, I will be monitoring them as soon as I see you try to do it.
Oh, you're in a different room. You're not in the corner.
We're still at the fucking door. We can see you do it.
I'm just going to look away.
There is a small ledge with a bridge going out that's maybe like a meter like out and maybe 2 or 3 meters either side of the door. It's almost like hemispherical. It's not quite obviously, but it kind of like a squish, like half an oval, I guess. Right, and this bridge going off. So yeah, they are kind of stood in the doorway. There's not too much room for them to go.
Okay.
Yeah. At that point, Ray, you've got good vision. Can you see anything or anyone in there?
I can try.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
You've
make a
also
wisdom
got a
check
scope if you want to use that.
with advantage. Yeah,
That's a good roll. That's
20. No, not 20. What am I talking about? 19. Just not 20. Okay, so with the 19, You see, yeah, you see that these buildings, some of them have windows on. The one nearest you and the central one, they both have windows on. And the one off to, no, both the ones off to the left seem to have windows all the way around the top. But the other two sort of islands that are sticking off it don't. No, not islands,
Well,
but like suspended.
Can I see something in the windows, or are they blacked out?
Yeah.
You struggle to see through them, but through the closest one, you think you can see some kind of like a desk with a chair behind it. It's a bit of a ways away though, so it's kind of hard to tell. But through there and through the taller ones, you see through the windows there, and you see a number of desks all around the wall, with, like chairs behind them and terminals on them.
How far away would that be from us?
Maybe 100 meters across this bridge.
100 meters.
Yeah,
so
it's quite a
that's
big bridge.
for her sniper rifle range.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
a sniper, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
I don't have a good feeling about this.
I really don't either.
So, do you want to stay up here?
Yeah, I think I stay back here,
Yeah.
watching
and
you
watch.
and the windows, of course.
Yeah, you seem to be better up here.
Yeah.
You've got comms to me. I will be on them at all times. If you see anything, contact me, and if I need you
Yeah.
to move forwards, I'll use my sub-vocalizer to tell you to do so.
Okay.
Do this carefully, because this doesn't feel right. This feels like some mystical beings trying to lead us into a trap.
Okay. So,
So, we'll head off forwards carefully.
so you step on the bridge.
I'm gonna hold back for a while until like, the captain gets a bit away.
Okay.
That way you said that, I suddenly, carefully?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bridge. It's pretty solid. So you step onto the bridge, nothing happens. It's a bridge. It's pretty solid.
I'm very happy that I don't have to be on this bridge.
And
Just the way that you said that, I just went, I'm not going to fall to my death now.
you're welcome. No, it's a bridge. It's pretty solid. You step onto it. It doesn't shift or anything like you have a like sneaking feeling it might do, but it doesn't. And you can make your way like over the bridge with no difficulty up towards.
How long is the bridge?
It's about 100 meters.
Okay. I'm gonna wait until he's like halfway there and then start walking.
Yeah.
Okay. Make your way.
Uh,
There's no supports on this bridge, which is one thing of note. It seems to be. It doesn't not even any railings. It's like a slab of like almost concrete looking. That's
how
made
thick is it?
thick, about like half a foot. So sorry, I should translate. It's about like 15 centimeters thick,
So,
about a meter
it'll
wide.
be strong enough to hold us, but quite easy to break if needs be.
Yeah,
With
you
explosions.
get that impression. However, judging by the fact that it's holding itself up, you get the feeling it's a lot stronger than it looks.
Yeah.
Just because it's 100 meters and it
Yeah.
supported both ends, and it doesn't seem to be having issues. But you make your way over to towards this other building, and you see above the door there is
Get the fucker. Sorry, there's a fly.
yeah, there's a sort of glass door on this building, and above the door there's a sign which it has a word that looks kind of like welcome in Aegon, but isn't.
Yeah.
Can I again pull up my book and see if there's a?
Yeah, from what you can tell,
Yeah.
it's actually how they write welcome, how the Prioripi would, because they
Right.
seem to use a language that's very similar to, but not quite Aegon,
Right.
because Aegon was based on the Prioripi language combined with
Yeah.
the other languages.
Got it.
Nice. But yeah,
Sorry.
it looks like Aegon. The Aegon word for welcome. It is in fact the Pureboy word for welcome. And you...
Fuck, there's another one now.
No, you just missed. And
No, I scraped the body off my fucking fingers. I got the first one.
you missed. And
It's summer.
yeah, you can you step up to this door, which sort of opens for you. Again, this sort of like cloud of dust comes off it. You notice like step back for a second as it settles. It doesn't take too long. It's a much smaller door.
Yeah. I'll go up to one of the desks.
Okay. As you step in, you seem to come into like a reception-looking area. And you step up to the desk, and the first thing that immediately strikes you is that in the chair, behind the desk, there is a skeleton. It's a Dulark skeleton, based on the skull, and it's just sitting there. Kind of collapsed, kind of really old. Seems to be withered and sort of decayed in places. Even
Anyone know biology?
Uh,
I
Well,
was
I'm
really over to Ray. Hey, you a biologist or you just not?
Rather not.
So no.
I'm gonna just poke it with my chain laser to poke it.
Before you, if I see you try and do that, I'll try to stop you. Can we at least look at this to make sure we work out how old it is first?
yeah, I'm gonna try to do that.
Can I try and help?
go ahead and make just an intelligence check.
Would that
Oh,
just add intelligence rather than
Yeah,
biology?
it's just intelligence. See if you work out what it is.
One
Looking at it.
second.
Do you want me
Can
to give you
2.
advantage?
What's up, Lilo?
Yeah, it would be nice.
Can
if I got
Lexie
advantage.
keep the comm on, like all the time, so I can hear with them?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Cool.
Or I'll get everyone else to turn their comms on effectively.
No.
Okay, so it's a 14.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Very old, but beyond that, you could not tell. Beyond like, oh, this is more than a few centuries old.
So it's more
Right.
than a few centuries.
Yeah, by the look of it. But beyond that, you've no idea.
Is it mostly intact?
It seems to be. It's like a little. I don't know. It seems to have just aged.
Right.
Like it seems to just be old.
Does it look like there's anything that would tell you how they died?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask as well.
Not,
Yeah.
not to the untrained eye. It's too sort of decayed, and there's like almost not enough of it, if that makes sense. It's like the
Right.
bones aren't bone shaped; they're kind of roughly bone shaped and slightly decayed in places, and like pockmarked and just covered with the signs of age. So
There's like a huge bullet hole in the top of the skull.
yeah, there's nothing like, oh look, they had their head cut off, but
Does the skeleton have clothes on, or are there clothes scraps anywhere?
no.
So it's naked.
Well, maybe the clothes were
Yeah, okay.
decayed.
Rotted away.
Yeah,
Or maybe it was just the
or maybe it
nudist
was naked.
retreat.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's so old.
you stumbled into the
can I-
ancient, creepy remains of a nudist retreat. Sorry.
So, what way in the room?
Well-
What way is he facing?
You know, someone could have placed him there.
They seem to be facing towards the door.
Right.
Like they're behind the reception desk.
Right. Okay.
I will walk around to like the other side of the reception next and see if there's any like stuff there, like a PC,
Okay.
shit like that,
There's nothing.
like a coffee cup.
There is absolutely nothing at all.
See if I can poke anything around there. See if there's like.
Yeah. There's a couple drawers. You open the drawers. They are all empty. It seems as though whatever was here has been taken. But there's nothing
and
here
there's
at
no
all.
like computer or whatnot that she had.
No, nothing at all.
On the drawers, was there any dust when you opened them, or was it like?
Yes. Sorry. Yes, the dust is the same as everything else.
Right. Okay. So equally aged.
Yeah.
Is there two doors or one door behind her, like to move on?
There is one door.
I'll
Nice.
move up there
Okay.
and have a wee look through, and
You
then
ha-
maybe open it.
You head to it. It seems to be a bit like a big heavy set metal door. Not like the sort of more fancy like glass-like doors that you saw before. This
Yeah.
one's a bit more robust. But you can sort of, like, it takes a bit of a shove, but you can shove it open if you want.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, is there any windows next to it?
Yes, there is a window.
I'll look through that first.
Yeah, the door seems to lead out onto one of the bridges connecting to the central building.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'll shove it open.
Okay. You shove the door open. It swings open. There's about, like, maybe 20 meters of bridge outside.
Yeah.
By the way, for sniping, it would be better if you open all the windows so I can shoot and actually see the enemies.
Yeah, can we
If
open
there
all
would
the
be some.
windows?
The windows don't open, unfortunately.
Ah,
You
damn
could
it.
just shoot through them, probably.
Keep
Yeah,
the
but-
doors open.
I can rig up something to break them if we
Is
get
she
into
also
trouble.
higher up than us, if that makes sense, so she can see over onto the bridge we're going to go onto?
A little bit, but not much. You can see maybe the, like, half of the bridge that they're going onto. The far half.
Do you want me to rig up something that will blow up the windows? If we trigger it?
The second half is good enough for the moment.
Yeah.
Because I think if we're going to get into combat at this point, it's going to be on the second half where they're coming from rather than behind us. And if they're behind us, those windows being broken or not won't help Lilo in any, Ray in any way.
Yeah.
So let's head forwards and yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Lilo should just come with us then? Or sorry, Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. How good do you have a view of the centre there?
You can see one side of it. Yeah, it doesn't... No, it has, like, a few windows in it. But you don't have the best view of it.
I think that I should probably come with you.
Right.
Right.
Okay, then I'm going towards them.
Okay. So you head up and join them. Yeah, so you're all now in this one room, suspended about kilometers many above the void by a single support. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Across the bridge. Or
You
very
get-
carefully.
Yeah, I'm very, very carefully going
I'll
over
like,
this
prod
bridge.
it with
Yeah.
like my staff first and then go. Oh, sorry, with my scythe first and then continue over.
yeah, okay. Again, it seems to be relatively, like, there's a sort of layer of dust on it, and you guys notice you've been leaving footprints in the dust here.
Yeah.
That being said, yeah, I'm taking mental note of all the stuff we've touched, so that if there are prints that aren't ours, I can notice them.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
You don't see any yet.
Can I also make sure that we've got gloves on?
Yeah, I think most people have gloves.
Yeah.
So
just
far.
to
I don't
make
have
sure everyone's
fingerprints.
got gloves on so we're not leaving fingerprints everywhere.
Yeah, that's fair.
I assume it comes with a medium armor.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
And
for...
I'm a robot, so
Yeah,
I don't
doesn't,
have
doesn't
prints.
matter for Seraph.
Yeah.
Quick question. Charlissandra, you alive?
Nope.
Boy.
Dead.
Rick!
I thought so as well.
Rick is asleep.
He's having a lovely wee snooze, Liz.
Should we say call a break and then...
Yeah, I
Wait,
would say
wait,
so too. Quick
Do you
break.
want me to move him? So that
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was just gonna boot him and be like, oh well.
did that work? Hello, Rick?
Sorry.
There
Sorry.
we go.
Hey,
No problem.
Yeah, later. That's alright. So what's wrong?
you're asleep, my dude.
Kinda.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, if you really need to sleep, my man, Then sort of, if you're not going to be able to stay awake, then go sleep. But
I'm trying to kind of think. Fuck. Trying
Can't
to.
form sentences.
stay
Go to
awake.
bed.
well, no, that's right. He normally can't.
What's up, Rick?
That's the noise Rick makes when he's exasperated.
Wow.
It's true though. And the wow, that's the. I was mildly insulted, but can't really deal with this because it wasn't quite an insult. Don't know what to say.
Or it wasn't untrue.
I mean, yeah, also that. Sorry, let's stop bullying Rick.
Wow.
Nah.
But what about a break? I think Heck's idea.
Yeah.
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 That's
Do
right.
you
Yeah.
want to head for a break? Okay. Alright then. So, as you step out onto the bridge, we will go for a break. And we'll...
Perfect
Great.
point for an
Grab some
intermission.
coffee and go to bed.
Potential for ambush. What?
Mhm.
Yes. Just while I set up all of the character sheets and add more zeros to their hit points. BRB.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you, Yargon.
Grab some coffee and go to sleep.
Yeah.
That feels